What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Beyond the Backboard podcast. This is a special episode, not really back 2 minute drill, not really a full episode here, but we just wanted to come out and talk about Derrick Rose for a couple of minutes and just give him his respect and dues because he did retire yesterday. We would have came out with a video yesterday, but we were all busy, unfortunately, and we were all doing all school stuff. So excuse us about that, y'all. We're still students. I don't know.
Yeah. Also, Earl is not here because unfortunately he is in a hurricane zone right now. So
Yeah,
we're keeping our fingers crossed for him. Hopefully he's good. He doesn't lose power. But this
yeah,
video is hopefully good luck for our wonderful third co-host, Mr. Earl, who's not here today. But I know he
yeah,
wanted to be here, which is unfortunate.
yeah, yeah. He wanted to be here, man. I got something to say. Why the fuck are people like, dude? Now there's memes all about talking about people seeing Tom Thibodeau on the street and they're knocking the Sonic rings out of him and stuff like that.
What?
All right, so I
What
know you're
weird
not.
part of
I
the internet are
know.
you on?
Okay, so I know you're not familiar with Nintendo, really, right?
I'm familiar with it. I'm familiar of it. I'm not familiar with it.
Okay, so
If
there's
that
this
makes any
brand.
sense.
There's this brand that they partnered with called Sega, and Sega
I know Sega.
owns. Okay, they own Sonic, right? They own the Sonic games and stuff like that. Everybody knows this.
Not the
Sega.
restaurant Sonic.
No.
Okay.
So Sonic the Hedgehog, this blue, fast little creature, um, he goes around and he collects rings, like how Mario collects coins. I think that's something
Yeah. Yeah, I understand that.
somebody who doesn't play Mario will still understand the gist of it. But it's essentially the same. So when they made that joke, it was essentially the equivalent of being like, "Oh, he Mario got some coins knocked out of him because he got hit or he got hurt or injured." So
Hmm.
somebody knocked the
Yeah.
Sonic coins out of Tom Thibodeau, and now they're just
Right, right. Okay,
yeah.
I think I see the vibes here. I see what you're getting at, Omar.
You see the vibes now. You see where we're getting at.
Yeah, I think I
People
see.
are shitting on my boy now because D Rose retired, and now there's all this hoopla like, oh, what if he was never injured? What if he was like? I get it, okay, but like, let's pump the brakes and chill out on Tom Thibodeau, man. He's all right. He's a good dude. He's a good dude. What do you think of this slander that's going on right now?
I mean, to be honest, I'm clearly not as in tuned to that stuff as you are, but from what I've seen, it's been a pretty positive reception to D Rose retirement. I think he's always been one of the more popular NBA players. Obviously, not just because of how good he was on the court at his peak, but also just I think he's genuinely a good dude. I think a lot of people have had positive fan experiences with him. I think he makes time for a lot of people in like the NBA community, and he just seems like a solid guy behind the scenes. Obviously, I don't know him. This could all be wrong, but it seems like a lot of people have a very positive image of him, both as a player and as a person, which always helps. So he's been showing a lot of love. I'm glad that he hung on as long as he did. He could have probably walked away 6 years ago, 5 years ago, with after he was really banged up with all those injuries. Just seems like every year there was always something with Rose, and you're always just kind of waiting for him to get back to that peak, and he just never
Yeah,
did. So I wouldn't have blamed him if he walked away in like 2018 or whatever. Like kind of after I think he got traded from the Bulls. He was on the Knicks for a while. That didn't go well. Then he wound up in like Cleveland, I think, for a short stint. Like he bounced around a good bit. And he could have retired then. I don't think anyone would have blamed him, but he hung around. He showed he was still a good player. He had a decent couple of years there for Minnesota, I think in like 2019, 2018-ish. He had a couple. I think he dropped 50 for them. That's really cool. I've been seeing that clip
yeah. I've been
make the
seeing that
rounds on
clip all
social.
over the place. Yeah.
Yeah, that
I've been
highlight,
seeing
that
the
interview
Jeff
clip.
Teague clip of him saying like, "Damn, everybody was crying in the locker room."
Yeah, so that was really cool. Went to Detroit. We don't talk about that, but came to the Knicks for a short stint and was legitimately probably the best player on our team for that playoff run, that 2021 year where the Knicks played the Hawks in the first round. And, he led us to the 4 seed. We were kind of a mid-pack team until we traded for him mid-season. And he
Yeah,
came in and instantly helped us a ton. Became like the best player on the team. He was the only player in the playoffs to actually show up, and he dragged us to a win in game 2. So
hmm,
that will always be one of his best moments.
yeah. I um I think Derrick Rose is for many reasons. I even have like a jersey of him like a jersey of his in Chicago. I'm waiting for the day I get that signed. I got Julius Randle over there. I got Penny Hardaway over there. I know you can't see it because of the light right now, but Derrick Rose is in the works. But man, I've always been a fan of his, and we always see these what if conversations and all of these hypotheticals and all this. It sucks. It really does. It's like the same thing if what if Kevin Durant never left Russell Westbrook? Like what if KD never went to the Warriors? All of these hypotheticals that just would drastically change the NBA. And Derrick Rose not being injured is probably one of them because I think he would have at least I don't know.
He would have been a Hall of Famer for sure. I think
he would have been a Hall of Famer
to the Hall of Fame. I don't know if he will make it now. I guess there's a chance. He's an MVP. He's well liked. There's a shot he gets voted in, but I think certainly he was on his way to probably 10, 12 All-Star appearances. Maybe another MVP. Who knows, honestly. But yeah, it all just goes back to one injury, one play can change your career. And I think that's, something we take for granted for a lot of times. Whenever these guys go out there, there's a chance they just land wrong. Like Rose didn't do anything wrong. He just went up, I think, for like a rebound or a layup, and he just came down wrong. And it's like, that's it. Your entire career can change on one play. So it's sad that that's the way it happened. And I think we see with how good he was even after that plethora of injuries, the fact that he was able to still be an effective NBA player and play a role on the Knicks and play a role on the Timberwolves and, hang around in the league from, almost a decade after those injuries shows how good he would have been if he never got injured. He had to reinvent his game, become a better shooter, become a better finisher, not just with dunks, but like some of his acrobatic layups that he's been hitting in the last couple of years are crazy. Like sometimes you'll just see Rose do like some crazy reverse jelly layup and you're like, where did he pull that from? But it showed he had to rely more on just pure skill versus athleticism, which obviously he had both, but he was able to just lean on that athleticism way more when he was younger.
Yeah. Yeah. And he did a lot of landing on his feet too. Like a lot of hard landing on his feet. And that probably attributed to that injury more than anything.
Well, the injury itself that was his bad luck.
Yeah, that was his bad luck, but it was also
anyone.
No, of course, but it also like if you look at and I just going through everything that I've been seeing on TikTok or YouTube or
you should know not to trust TikTok.
I mean, yes, but also just seeing all the plays, all the different dunks, all the different layups, all the ways he landed. It was rough.
But it's rough. But it's no different than guys like LeBron or John Wall or John Morant. There's
considerably smaller.
A lot of high-flying dunkers in the league that just.
John Morant should be careful too. Actually, you bring up a solid point. John Morant should be a little careful with that. I'm not talking about the LeBron Jameses and the Kevin Durants that are obviously a little taller, right? I think Derrick Rose is not.
I mean, yeah, he's not as tall, but
I think he's like I don't want to misquote. Let me look this up, but I believe like 6'1" to 6'3".
He's 6'1". He's 6 or 6'1". He's not a tall guy. Like the fact that he was able to do what he could do at his height is incredible.
He was 6'3".
That's what made him stand out to a lot of people for sure.
LeBron James has almost 100 pounds on Derrick Rose, and then on top of the fact that he had 5 inches on him.
Okay, but what's
LeBron's like 6'8" to 6'9", maybe.
But what's your point then?
LeBron is probably more built to dunk at a higher level and not put as much stress on his legs than Derrick Rose.
Well, you would argue more weight would put more stress on your legs. The lighter you are, the less stress you are. I mean, we see that with Embiid.
But when the weight is kind of more
comes down, it's like.
But that clearly is not the heaviest point in LeBron James's body as well. It's kind of all even out, and I think
Rose was even out. I don't think there's anything in Rose's body type or play style that led to it. It's just bad. Like it could just happen to anyone.
How can I say this without sounding like?
And then once you get one injury, I get that's the way he plays. But then once you get one injury, that just increases your chances of another one. And I think we saw that.
I feel like
Steph Curry got one ankle injury and has been lucky, or I think he got like a couple, and he's been lucky to just never get another one. Like some guys have just been lucky with that. Like Curry's ankle used to be a big problem for him, and people were
Yeah, but
like, "This
Curry's
is
not.
going to end his career." But then he got
Curry's
away with it.
arguably not landing like Derrick Rose was at
Yeah, but
all
the
in
injury
his
itself didn't
career.
happen on a weird landing. Well, it
I'm
did,
not
but not
saying
because of
it
like his
did, but
body
it
or anything.
also, but I'm saying it also weakened his legs a little bit. I'm not saying that.
Are you a doctor? Do we know this? Like, this has never been reported by anyone.
I feel like this is common knowledge a little bit because when you're a smaller player, there's obviously more distance between you and the floor. And
If you jump high, it
when you're
depends on how high you
dude,
jump.
Derrick Rose is jumping high. Derrick Rose is
So
jumping
are other
incredibly high.
players.
That's probably I gotta look this up. How long did Muggsy Bogues play in the NBA?
What does that have to do with anything? I'm so confused. It was a freak accident. Everyone admits that. Everyone knows that. There's nothing with Rose's body that like deteriorates. It's not like he got a stress fracture in his foot from like repetitive use. He tore his ACL. That happens. Guys just tear their ACL sometimes, and that's just bad luck. That's what I say. It's a what if. What if he just lands slightly better and just runs back down the court like nothing happened? All this is different, you know? Sometimes bad things just happen, or freak injuries just happen.
Dude, no, but I'm just saying that there's definitely there's an attribute. Like there's something in the fact that like your legs can only take so much. And if you're in to Derrick Rose, he's one of them. Like again, we said this over and over again. He probably would have been like one of the best. Him and Russell Westbrook, one of the best high flying point guards like we've ever seen
Yeah, it's a really good point.
in the
Westbrook's never been
NBA.
injured like that.
Uh,
No, never.
Never.
Not in his prime, certainly.
No, not in his
Westbrook's fallen off for other reasons. Not injuries, though.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
I mean, listen, the guy's like 35. Like,
I mean,
he's
that's
former,
no,
he's
yeah,
another,
yeah,
former
that's
MVP,
different.
like future Hall of Famer. Like, he
Are
would
you
have
sure
had,
he's?
he
I
had a
feel
similar
like there
career to
was.
what Rose would have had.
I feel like there was a year where he got injured. I might be
Okay,
wrong.
maybe 1 year, but yeah, I don't get your point. Like,
I
Rose
think,
he was one of the most
dude, you
in
could put
shape
a lot more
physically
stress
players in
on
the
your
league.
legs as a smaller person, bro.
He's not
Speaking
a smaller
as
person.
a
He's 6
smaller
feet tall. That's
person,
not a smaller person.
I'm just saying when you compare it to the rest of the NBA that are not high as much as like high flyers as Derrick Rose was or Russell Westbrook was, you're not.
Yeah, but there's been plenty of shorter, high-flying players that didn't tear their ACL.
I'm sure there was, but they probably weren't doing it at the volume of Derrick Rose was in his
They
prime.
were. Not Westbrook, D. Brown, John Wall. They all did it. Like, I don't know what else to tell you. It was just a bad accident. Like, I get you're trying to, like, put the doctor goggles on and, like, connect
I'm just trying to.
But, like, sometimes there's just no connecting the dots. If you can find me one article online that says Derrick Rose was injured because he dunked too much, fair enough.
That's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying
You're saying
there's
he dunked
stress
too
on the
much for a
legs.
6-foot guy.
I'm saying there's a lot of stress in the legs, as any human would be.
Yeah.
And
he's no different than anyone else.
When you're exactly, but when you're doing it as much as he was in his prime, I feel like that puts a lot of stress on your legs, a lot of stress on your tendons, and a lot of stress in your calves.
Then Anthony Edwards should watch out, and Anthony Edwards should watch out. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander should watch out, and LaMelo Ball should watch out, and Cade Cunningham should watch out. Like,
I mean, yeah, LaMelo Ball should watch out. Actually, hasn't been healthy a single year.
Okay, but again, that has nothing to do.
You're like LaMelo Ball. Yeah, he should. I mean, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is a lot more stiff than LaMelo Ball. Like, they're not playing at the same play style. Like, you're taking a little bit of apples and oranges here and mixing them into one.
You're trying to tell me that because Rose dunked a lot, he tore his ACL.
I'm saying that there's a lot of stress on the legs.
But that's any NBA player is jumping like that.
And I'm
maybe not 40 inches like Rose, but they're all jumping 30, 35 feet to dunk or to get a rebound or to block a shot. That's anyone.
Of course. And again, I'm not arguing against that, but I'm saying that it still, regardless, puts a lot of stress on your legs like any other player. And it
Yes.
just happened to be more for Derrick Rose.
I don't think
Because
it's any more or less.
when you land like that over and over and over and over again, something's gonna happen to you.
But then
Like
how come it doesn't
my
happen to
foot
so
right
many other
now.
players who do that?
I'm sorry. Yeah, of
How,
course. Of course.
you make it sound like it was an inevitability.
And the smaller players should watch out. That's my point.
I don't respectfully. I don't think they're gonna. I think they're gonna keep dunking and have a great career.
I mean, look, to each
It
their
was an
own.
unfortunate accident. It could
To
happen to
each
anyone. It
their
could happen
own.
to be Rose. There's been plenty of big men who, if anything, you
Yeah.
see big men have lower extremity problems because they're heavier. That
Yeah.
puts more weight. Rose was incredibly skinny. If anything, he has less weight on his legs, not just because he's short. That has nothing to do with it. It has to do with weight and like center of gravity. If you're Embiid, who's putting 300 pounds in your midsection on your legs, yeah, that's going to stress it. If you're Greg Oden, who had a ton of lower extremity problems, yeah, that's going to stress it. But if you're Derrick Rose, who's skinny as heck and bouncing and jumping all around, I don't think it was not an inevitability. And I don't think by any means. It's like he probably has the same body mass index or whatever that is, like, height to weight ratio. He probably had a great BMI. So do guys like LeBron and Vince Carter. They're tall but incredible but skinny. So they're able to go up and dunk a ton. It just happened. And it didn't even happen on a dunk. It just happened on, I think, like a layup or a rebound attempt. And it's also an ACL.
Yeah.
I think ACL is different than having like foot or ankle problems. An ACL is just
I feel like
I appreciate you trying to put the doctor goggles on, but I don't think
I'm like mixing my devil's advocate with the doctor goggles. So I'm like
goggles, but at the end of the day, sometimes these things just happen, and it's unfortunate that it happened to happen to such a good guy and such a great player who had such a great career in front of him. But I still think he was able to do more than a great job with what he was given in the body that ultimately broke down on him. The fact that he hung on as long as he did and made the impact that he did speaks to a lot. And I think the fact that he's made the impact on a lot of people just as a person, I think is probably going to be known as his greatest achievement. I think even more so than anything he did on the court. NBA fans will always have love for D Rose, and hopefully to him, that's what he takes from his career more so than like, damn, I could have been this. I was able to be this.
What do you think his next steps are? Do you think he eventually becomes a coach? Do you think he takes some time? Obviously, I think he's going to take some time and try to focus with his family and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know, actually. I could maybe see him. I don't think I could see him coaching at the NBA level. Maybe doing something more at like the youth level. Maybe starting like some sort of camp or being some sort of like AAU coach or like high school. Maybe he goes and like as a high school coach, like in Chicago, like more where he's from, or like a college coach or assistant, or I could see him doing something maybe lower down the rung than an NBA job. But I definitely think he'll find some way to give back to the game of basketball. That seems something like
not even like an assistant coach.
That's important to him.
Not even like an assistant coach for us.
That would be fun, but I think the Knicks have plenty of guys. We already have plenty of assistant coaches. Taj Gibson's already.
Didn't we lose like our top assistant?
I think we did, yeah, but we have
Johnny Bryant.
Yeah, we have
Johnny Bryant. I gotta be honest with you about Johnny Bryant. I would have respected it more if he became a head coach, but he left for the same exact position, which boggles my mind.
They probably paid him double what we are.
Probably.
He got some pockets to look after. I think, like you said, I don't think he would have left just for a lateral move. They're probably said, we'll give you the same job. We'll pay you twice as much. And he said, where do I sign?
Thank you guys so much. I appreciate every single one of you guys. Make sure to tune in on the Beyond the Backboard podcast and check out our most recent video. What if Carmelo Anthony was a Detroit Piston instead of a Denver Nugget? Be sure to subscribe, like, and hit the podcast on wherever you get it, YouTube, Spotify, wherever. And thank you guys so much. I appreciate every single one of you. And peace.